John, Steve, believe it or not, these polls have reached the PlayStation 4, which I believe is the first time one of these polls is with a current system. It's a system that is still getting games. And that just feels weird that we've caught up to that point.
Are you implying the Wii U isn't a current system?
No, that thing is dead as bricks. I don't know. I have insert comparison here. It's PlayStation, so Daniel as dead as Daniel Fortescue. So there you go. But yeah, the PlayStation 4, which I think it's a great little system. It started off strong and just sort of kept that momentum with some fantastic games over its lifespan, and still getting great games. It feels like a complete rebound, at least for me, from Sony, like taking the momentum from the PlayStation 3 and just continuing it into the PS4.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. PS3 was, it got better over time, but it was a fumble for the most part. PS4 was able to become like the default, like 360 was, because it was the best place for multi-platform games, and it was cheaper than Xbox One, so there was no camera included. It was just the easy choice. I'd say it started off okay though. Like the launch games were like Killzone and Knack, and what else did it come with at launch? Infamous was like a few months later. Oh, it wasn't
we
that
had
exciting.
Assassin's Creed 4.
I'd say
Black
it got
Flag.
really exciting around the time of like The Witcher 3 and Bloodborne, which is like 1 year later. But then it just kept rolling. We got a lot of Japanese stuff, a lot of mainstream stuff, and just great stuff across the board. It was a really great mix. And something I don't think PS5 has quite been able to follow up, but it was a fantastic system.
Yeah, PS4 really rose to the moment. Like Sony nailed their marketing and messaging on the PS4. Like I still remember, when they did that cheeky like how to share a PS4 game video.
Yeah.
They just the one guy hands it to the other and he's like, thanks. Like right after Microsoft said they were going to have always on DRM for the Xbox One. Like,
Mhm.
and from that point forward, you pretty much knew that Sony was going to win that generation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was lots of quite distinctive PS4 IP as well. Like Horizon was made on the PS4. And going from like Guerrilla's last work, like Killzone, which was just this very gray and brown franchise, to Horizon, which is a big, colorful franchise. It felt like they really started to find their footing as a creative studio. But The Last of Us also inspired a lot of things to go in that direction, like God of War has a lot of Last of Us DNA. Horizon does in some areas too. They definitely found a formula in the PS4 era, but there's also some great variety, like The Last Guardian and Gravity Rush 2. Lots of really, really fun and different things from PlayStation's first party.
Yeah, and as you said, third parties was kind of the place to be.
Yeah.
One of my favorite multi-platform games it was Devil May Cry 5. Like the game
Oh,
game just rocked on that system. I still remember going through the first time and just being blown away the entire time, right up until that finale. And this is the rebirth of Resident Evil with 7 Biohazard and 8 1 2 remake, 3 remake, 4 remake. Like good
Yeah.
God.
Yeah,
And
Capcom
then-
were on a roll. Like Capcom started off pretty strong in the 360 era and then kind of fell off. PS4, they picked it all up. I'd say like there are still some big franchises that just didn't return though. Like there's no Elder Scrolls, there was no Grand Theft Auto. There's a few franchises that just skipped over this generation, but we also had just these huge ones that came out of nowhere. Like Nier Automata became a pretty big sensation. There's just lots of really new things, which was really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Sony redefined what a superhero game could be with Spider-Man. Like for my money, probably still the best superhero game of all time, even more so than 2.
Yeah, at this point, I agree with that. I'm still not going back and played Spider-Man 2, but I think I've seen enough gameplay. It's like, nah, when you really look at it, the PS4 version is definitely the best.
As time has passed, yeah, the PS4 game I think has a way better story, and I prefer the gadgets more than like the Venom abilities and all that. Like not to say that 2's a bad game, but I think 1 is stronger in most areas.
I think we're talking about Spider-Man 2, the movie, the game.
Oh, so I thought you meant 2 the game. Yeah, but
I think that's what
I stand by
Steve was
that. Though. I
Oh
think
no,
the
I
game is
actually
better.
meant that Spider-Man 1, the Insomniac game, is better than
I still have not
Spider-Man
played
2, the
Spider-Man
Insomniac
2.
game. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I thought you were talking about there's too many Spider-Mans and Spider-Mans 2.
There's a lot of Spider-Man 2s at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are a whole lot, but no, I agree with pretty much everything John said. The gadgets are more interesting. I didn't really love the Venom abilities. The suit designs in one are better for my money. I just think that one also had a tighter narrative, where two kind of fell into the cinematic Spider-Man
Yeah.
3 problem, where they tried to cram in too many villains into one narrative.
And also the web wings. I know they're a long-standing Spider-Man thing, but I feel like they kind of undermine swinging, which is just more fun than web wings are.
Yeah, I really thought, and maybe in some world this was going to happen. I thought that the web wings were maybe a test for Spider-Man eventually getting like the cosmic power, so he could just straight up fly. And
Yeah.
this was just like a test of how they could make those mechanics work. But then we never got DLC for Spider-Man 2, so who knows?
Which is
Yeah.
weird, but Insomniac seems to have a lot on its plate. Either way, that we're getting into the weeds. Let's actually get to this top 10 so we can discuss those games that made the list. And just to break it down, the PlayStation 4 had 668 votes
God damn.
from across this week. A pretty solid showing. Not as much as the PlayStation 2. That hit 900, which is still our highest non-Nintendo poll. Nothing's quite reached that. I think it was around 960 for that one. However, the variety is off the charts. 615 different games represented among those votes. There is a lot of variety here. So good luck narrowing it down. So John, Steve, what is our number 10 PlayStation 4 game of all time with 752 points? And to throw in a little extra twist here, number 11, 751 points. There was a 1 point difference between something making the top 10 and not.
Wow. Okay, so my approach this time, every time I've been on one of these, I just list my own top 10. This time I tried to guess what the audience is really going to go for. So I took a look at a few different sources, and even though this isn't one of my personal top 10 PS4 games, I feel like it's going to land somewhere in the list, depending on how far outside of GVG's own bubble this one reached. Red Dead Redemption 2. It's
good
not a
choice.
game for me, but I do think it's somewhere in there.
Yeah. I'm going to guess this game once and then leave it, because I don't think it's going to make the list, but I'd like for it to make the list. The Last Guardian.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. All right. We got Red Dead Redemption 2 and The Last Guardian. At number 10, it is neither of those. Instead, it is Horizon Zero Dawn.
What?
Okay.
Oh my goodness. I didn't order my list. Horizon was on my list. I did not think it would be all the way down at 10.
Yeah,
That's nuts.
It gets competitive when you look what's ahead of it. It's not like none of it's like, I don't know. To me, I feel like all of it. That's the problem with as we get to this point. It's so competitive. There's so many just truly great games, especially, and even when you look at the top 20, top 30, as you will see as we go through it later on. But yeah, I feel like based on what got ahead of it, this is a fine showing, and Horizon Zero Dawn is quite brilliant. It is a extremely fun game. Great story as you go through. That is still kind of prescient when you really look at it.
I will stay relatively quiet because my opinions on this game are that it's just kind of fine. Not much more than that.
What about you, Steve? Are you a fan of Horizon Zero Dawn?
Yeah, I came around. I went the long way around on this one, because I did not really play Horizon Zero Dawn until I played Forbidden West. So we reviewed Forbidden West here on the channel, and I had played like bits and pieces of Zero Dawn until that point. And so I played through all of Forbidden West for the reviewed it, and then was like, that was fantastic. Went back and played Zero Dawn, and while I still think that in 2017 it just was not right to release that right up against Breath of the Wild, it's a great game. I really had fun with it, but unlike Breath of the Wild, I think it's driven much more by its narrative than its mechanics. Like, the story is interesting, and that's really the motivating factor for me to keep playing. Like, I think that the like the actual mechanical components of the game, as John said, are fine. Like they work, they're serviceable, but I'm not like the gameplay isn't what's scratching the itch for me. It's just kind of finding out more about this world and the story that really got me. Whereas with Forbidden West, I feel like they improved the gameplay just enough to make that also a compelling component of the experience.
Mm.
I have yet to play Forbidden West. I've played the opening hours, but I just got pulled away to other things. But you're right. The narrative is I'd say the biggest draw for Horizon Zero Dawn. There's a lot of fun gameplay to be had in there, but at a certain point, you're doing pretty much the same thing with every mechanical beast that you're coming across. It's you don't really change up tactics. And I remember Ash having his review back in the day where he fell in love with it as well. But it was very much you compare it with Breath of the Wild at the time, and Horizon represents almost the best of the old idea of what an open world game should be, while Breath of the Wild was felt like a step forward.
Mm.
I'm just to get a few of your sound bites in here, John. What did you like about the game? What you don't have to like go into.
Yeah, I don't want to bring the
background or anything.
conversation down, but
No, that's
what I
fine.
think about Horizon, I think it is a high budget Ubisoft kind of game. So if you've
There is a
played,
lot of Ubisoft style open world.
yeah, it feels like sort of Assassin's Creed kind of, like Unity, whatever the one in London is called. It feels like kind of that kind of style of gameplay, but higher budget. And I think, yeah, as you're saying, the story's great, the mechanical designs are brilliant. I love all that stuff. But I think the moment-to-moment gameplay, I just feel like I've done it a million times before. So I never felt that inspired by it. I did finish it, but it was kind of a chore. It's more of like, I want to finish this because everyone's saying it's so great. And then when I finally did it, I was like, it was all right. I don't regret the time I spent playing it, but I feel like I could have played something a bit more inspiring.
I think it helped that I had stepped away from the Assassin's Creed series and that in
Sure.
Ubisoft style open world, so it wasn't as bogged down as I could have been. Because I'm sure if you play a lot of those, it's like, well, it doesn't do. Well, let's climb the next tall neck and see what
Yeah.
what else we can see. I can see where that comes from, but I'm curious where people fall on this one about what draws you to Horizon, whether it's the gameplay or the story, what have you, with it. And I unfortunately I have not played the Forbidden West, so I don't even know how much it's improved on things. According to Steve, quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Horizon Zero Dawn at number 10. I'm not going to reveal 11, so you guys can keep guessing, but we'll find out that later. What just barely made the list and whether you think it should have been at number 10 rather than Horizon. But let's get to our number 9 PlayStation 4 game of all time, beating out Horizon by 40 points.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'll go with Tetris Effect.
I'm going to go with the Shadow of the Colossus remake.
Oh, good shout.
Oh.
I feel like Team Eco has to be somewhere on the list.
Well, I mean, technically it's Team Eco, but I think it was
Yeah.
was Blue
Gen
Point or
design at
something.
this point. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. At number 9, you guys should have thought multi-platform because we have Yakuza 0.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay.
Okay.
I was thinking Near Automata maybe around this point as well, but that's still on the possibility list.
Mhm.
Yakuza 0, I'm not surprised at all. I feel like this is kind of the go-to Yakuza. They released so many of these, I feel like I can never really keep up. But 0 is one that I did play. Revisited a bunch on the Switch too as well. Great launch title. And it's just kind of the basics and the best of Yakuza. Great starting point. Crazy as hell. Lots of great arcade games. Yeah, if any Yakuza was going to make it, this would be the one.
Yeah, this is the only Yakuza I've actually completed. So I played through this on the PS4. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, I think that if you're kind of getting your feet wet with the franchise, this is the place to start. It's a great point to get in for beginners because you don't feel like you're missing too much. But like John, I also they seem to come out at such a rapid clip that I just don't have time to play most of them.
Yeah.
They do a fantastic job of asset reuse because a lot of the games are focused on Kamurocho, and so they just sort of change it based on the era and change things up. And yeah, I've played. This is the only Yakuza game I played all the way through. It is brilliant, and it was something else to finally play it and hear about all the craziness of Yakuza and realize that the main story of Yakuza played dead serious.
Oh yeah.
This is a Yakuza plot. Once you get into the side content, that's your wackiness. And it's amazing how well that gets balanced. It's like you would think it would just throw off the tone of one or the other, but it doesn't. It just feels like almost like character development for Kiryu.
It heightens it, I'd say, because like you get those silly moments, and it just makes the stronger moments feel stronger because of that. It's just this great juxtaposition between them, and the fact that it's player decided, so you don't have to do that crazy stuff, but because you do, it doesn't really reflect on the story, and yeah, I think that makes it all feel better.
Mm-hmm. It also has one of my. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Steve.
No, I was gonna say that's one of RGG Studios' greatest strengths is that they kind of. I mean, that's a hallmark of their game design. You play Judgment, you play Yakuza. They always have these really really wacky side characters. Like I remember, not specifically in Yakuza 0, but in Judgment, I played a side quest in which a guy was pretending to be a pilot, and I had to convince his girlfriend that he actually was a pilot. And so, but then you're dealing with kidnapping plots and murder and stuff like that. And I agree with John. It's almost like the kind of gives you a break from the nonstop, like serious, heavy themes of the main story. So it's kind of like a light, humorous moment in a game that's otherwise quite serious. So I think that's something that they do really well. It shines in Yakuza 0 especially as well. It's just kind of a cool thing to be able to take a break and have that gameplay not just be more of the same. It prevents the game from feeling monotonous, even if it is still just run through town, find a thing, kick the thing or hit it with a bike, and then continue on your way. The context around those make it feel like a totally different type of game for a moment.
There's a side quest revolving around Dragon Quest 3, which is so great. About this kid has his copy stolen, so Kiryu has to track down the guy who stole it, who then had it stolen from him, who then had it stolen from him, because Dragon Quest 3 is just that popular. And I was losing it the entire time because it's set in the late 80s, that boom of Japan, and it really does capture that moment. But also in terms of gameplay, I love its feedback loop of you don't have to do the side quest stuff, but by doing the side quest stuff, your abilities open up far more than they would have otherwise, and you can just expand how much you're able to do with each of the fighting styles and just in general with Kiryu. So it makes it just, you want to do that stuff, so you could open up that stuff that then opens up more stuff, and it just, that way you feel like me doing something is constantly opening up even more. I think it's always something very addictive to me.
Totally.
So, if you have not played Yakuza, highly recommend it. 0 is a fantastic place to start. I heard Kiwami is also a good place to start the actual first game, because 0 does have a lot of references to later games. You just don't realize it until you get to those later games.
Yeah. Natalie was saying earlier that it's very rare that a prequel is actually the best starting point, because usually a prequel relies on you knowing later events. But this one actually, it really just is the best starting place for Yakuza, and arguably still the best game in the series.
We're gonna move on here, but I remember finishing 0 and being content, and then looking at the box of Kiwami, not knowing anything about Kiwami. I just have the box, and I just looked at it and read the back, and I'm like, oh, like there's a legit shock about what happens next that I did not see coming. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to playing that eventually. But yeah, Yakuza 0 at number 9. So let's go ahead and move on to number 8, which beat out Yakuza 0 by 115 points ish.
I was thinking Nier Automata around here, but I think people hold 2 being too high of a regard for number 8. So maybe Resident Evil 7.
Interesting. RE7 is on my list as well, but I actually think it's going to rank a little higher. Just
I'd hope it will. But yeah, I think
we're thirsty. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna follow Derrick's advice from the previous step and go multi-platform and say Witcher 3.
Oh yeah, good one too.
Very good one from both accounts. However, you went multi-platform. You shouldn't have gone multi-platform because
Dang it!
don't look for patterns in this, you fools. No, at number 8, Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm happy about this. So, Ghost of Tsushima also made my list. I wasn't sure where it would place. I'm honestly kind of surprised it placed at all.
Mhm.
Earlier we were talking about like how Horizon felt like a big budget Ubisoft game, but Ghost of Tsushima is a
Yeah.
big budget Ubisoft game. Um, it plays very, very similarly to old Assassin's Creed. John was talking about Syndicate, which took place in London, which was the last of what I'd call the old Assassin's Creeds, where
Mm,
attacks were mapped to face buttons, and it felt like just a progression from the original. Where in recent days they kind of have more like a Souls-like control scheme, right, where your attacks are mapped to shoulder buttons and stuff like that. Ghost of Tsushima feels every bit like old Assassin's Creed, and I didn't realize how much I had missed that until Sucker Punch dropped this. And it's just such a good game. You know, we all know we were talking earlier about how hard it can be to get a review out on time. And I remember playing through Ghost of Tsushima, getting the review written, getting the review published, and then just going back and continuing to play the game until I had platinumed it. And I ended up platinuming it before the video came out, just because I could not put this game down. It is just Sucker Punch's version of feudal Japan is just so nice to explore around. And the way they, in particular, I really love the guiding wind mechanic where you just
oh
kind of
yeah.
swipe on the touchpad and it gives you an idea of where to go without, a big honking arrow on your screen telling you something's over there.
Mm. I came around on this one as time went on, but when I first played it, I thought, it's okay. Came back a few months afterwards and enjoyed it a lot more. Steve's right though; it is kind of a gameplay style you've probably done a few times already. But I think it does it better than Horizon, and also I think the visual style is a lot more appealing. Horizon can sometimes be sensory overload. It's a very colorful game, but it's so colorful that it's kind of hard to focus on at times. Where I think this visual style is really cohesive. The grass rendering is still beautiful. The way it just sort of parts as you ride on your horse. The wind mechanic, as Steve was saying, is really nice. Really subtle way of waypointing without just putting a big marker everywhere. I just feel it feels more subtle, more deliberate, and also it requires more from you. You can't really just go into a combat section and just mash a button, just aim. You actually got to think when playing Ghost of Tsushima, which it keeps everything feeling a bit more tactile.
Mhm. I can see that. So I've still not played Ghost of Tsushima. It's on the list. I want to play it. I love Sucker Punch's work up to this point. We got Ghost of Yotei coming out soon. With Tsushima, when I saw that presentation, it really did sell me. Like this, it looks brilliant. It's such a beautiful world. Seeing the animals following like the fox, the guiding wind, as you guys were saying, the different combat styles. It feels like a world you just want to get lost into, and I
Mm,
feel like maybe why you enjoy this more than Horizon is that Sucker Punch has something to build off of because they were slowly going more and more open as time goes on
yeah,
with the Sly games. They eventually had those more open areas. Infamous, of course, had a big open area that's more maybe more GTA-ish in its design until finally getting to Tsushima, which is by far their most successful game.
yeah,
Puts everything else to shame. Um, and it's one I want to get back to, especially because I have I think the PS5 version where it's like even more refined.
yeah.
So
Just to
it's
shout
one
out
on the
Infamous a
list.
moment, because I'm pretty sure Infamous isn't going to make it. The PS4 game I think was a step back in gameplay, but visually that game still looks really, really, really good.
Oh yeah,
You look at
that was
those
that was
models,
a showstopper.
yeah, it still looks great. Like that was like the first like, oh, this is a next gen kind of moment. But yeah, yeah. To move on from Infamous, Tsushima is yeah, I think it's deserving of being here. Personally, this is around where I would put it, but I know other people like adore this game.
All right, that is Ghost of Tsushima at number 8. Let's go ahead and move on to number 7, which beat out Tsushima by 197 points.
Ooh,
Okay.
that's a
So
Oh,
big
bit,
jump.
bit of a
that's a
jump
big
between
jump.
8 and 7. So what could it
Mhm.
be?
What are you
Gosh,
thinking, Steve?
I like part of me wants to roll the dice on Witcher 3 again, but yeah, you know what? I there's another game I was considering, but I think it would place much higher than even this. So I'm gonna just roll the dice a second time on Witcher.
It was a long generation, so there's a lot of years to cover here.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and say Nier Automata again. I think this is the place for 2B.
That's the place. That's where to be.
Yeah.
All right. At number 7. Well, hopefully you guys will get one right eventually, because number 7 is not either of those games, and is instead Uncharted 4: A Thief's
Oh
End.
no.
Dang it.
Reroll. This should be higher.
Oh, it should be higher. Okay, I thought you were going to say it shouldn't be on there at all.
Oh no.
when you were saying-
Uncharted 4 is incredible. No.
Yeah, okay.
For sure. I think this is one of Naughty Dog's best games. Uncharted 2 is fantastic, and I think it's probably still the best Uncharted. But 4 took the tone in such a more grounded direction. I think it's some of Naughty Dog's best storytelling. Just really, really fun, while also having just such an interesting story. The multiplayer is not as good as 2's, nor would I say is as charming in general, but it still visually looks incredible. Like that area with the marketplace and all those monkeys roaming around still looks great. The way they mix things up with like boat sections and driving and the grapple hook you put around a tree. Yeah, I think this is a fantastic game.
It's interesting. Every game that we've put so far has been on my list. Every single one has been on my list somewhere. Uncharted 4 I also thought was going to be higher. I have not finished Uncharted 4, but every moment of it that I've played I found enjoyable and impressive. It's one of those games that, I think particularly as people that make videos about games, you kind of just move on to the next thing a little more quickly than you'd like to. And so I've played roughly half of it, and it's just such a fantastic time. Like John said, I kind of wrote off the Uncharted series prior to 4 because they looked kind of like crazier Tomb Raider to me, like in trailers and videos I saw. But this one felt a lot more, kind of, again, we talked about how there's Last of Us DNA kind of sprinkled throughout the PS4 generation. This felt like it had a better narrative focus, and one that was more believable and made Nathan Drake more of an interesting character, at least to me. So yeah, I thought this was going to go probably in the top 5 at least.
Yeah. Not many stories can pull off, oh, I've had a secret brother I've never talked about.
Exactly.
Here
I was
he
just
is.
about to mention that.
They pull it off though.
They do. It is fun to see the interaction with the brother, and I always enjoy when you get a little bit more Sully in it, because he's one of my favorites. And it's one of those things where I can remember just about every set piece in Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
And I can't do that with 3 or 1, but I can do that with 2. And I think that's a sign of how good both of those games are.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember having to scale the rocks when you're going in the Scottish Highlands before you get into the tombs. I remember the car chase that they used as a showcase for one of the PlayStation events. I think at E3.
You're grapple hooking around the bridge and Man, 2 and 4 are the peak for sure. And I think visually, video games don't need to be better than Uncharted 4. That there are still points in this game that look like they could have released today. Like you're talking about Scotland, those parts where you're riding down those rock cliffs and like you're sliding down and the rocks are shuffling away. You can shoot at the rocks and they'll fall down. Like that still looks amazing. Every part of this game could very well be a game made today, and this released 10 years ago. It was like 2015, wasn't it?
Oh my god. That was 10 years ago. Good god. No, you absolutely correct. Shockingly decent driving controls. Not you have to drive a lot, but like when you have that open section where you're just driving around to each area, I liked hearing all their commentary, so I liked going around and making sure I saw every little thing.
Yeah.
So I could hear it all. Like you like hanging out with these characters, and by the time you get to the end, you are pretty fully invested.
And that level you drive around is like a mini sandbox, and you think like, I wish they could make a whole game like this, and they did with Lost Legacy. Yeah, which is also really great.
So yeah, I wasn't sure about it's getting its flowers, because I think it's one of those things where I convinced myself that it's maybe not as good as I remember. But then I was like, as I'm talking about with you guys, like, no, this is really good.
Yeah, this is still fantastic.
And honestly, one of the few times you get a proper, satisfying send off for a character.
And Crash Bandicoot.
And you get more Crash Bandicoot. Thank goodness. Oh, goodness. But yeah, love the shout out to the old times. But Uncharted 4 at number 7. But let's see what got number 6, beating out Uncharted 4 by 39 points. It's close.
Ooh, okay.
I want to mirror Steve and just keep saying Witcher 3, but it's probably here somewhere, right?
It's gotta be.
I was thinking Metal Gear Solid 5. Personally, that's not my choice. I think MGS 5 was fantastic gameplay wise. It disappointed me on many levels though, so that's not what I'm gonna say. I don't want to keep saying Nier Automata, Witcher 3 though, but that feels like kind of where this would be.
Yeah, I'm gonna break suit and just move away from Witcher 3 for a second because I don't think this is gonna make the top 5. I wonder though, because it's one of my personal favorite PS4 games. I'm gonna go with The Last of Us Part 2.
Okay, your choice.
But
just to change what we keep saying, then I'm not going to say Nier Automata or Witcher 3. I will say I'm going back and forth between Resident Evil 7 again, or maybe something like God of War. But I'm going to say Resident Evil 7.
Also a solid choice.
All right, so we got Resident Evil 7, and what would you say, John? Last of Us Part 2, right? Last of Us Part 2. All right, at number 6, John, you were right the last 2 times. It is Nier Automata.
Damn it. God damn it. Cool, though. Cool. Nier Automata is fantastic. I think the first time I played through it, I thought, like, I did the first ending, reached credits. I thought, this is good. Doesn't live up to the hype. Kept playing, though. Did all the stories, and then it's like, I get it. I get it now. Because you finish it the first time, it's got cool moments, cool combat, cool locations, but it doesn't really hit the heights that you'd expect it to from all the praise. You play through 9S's section, it's cool. You get different perspective, neat, and then you get like one thing's really cool about it is you get like a title sequence after like 20 hours of playing. It's like, oh, this is where it begins, really, and that's where it gets way more exciting, where everything kind of delivers on what it's been building upon. And you finally understand like what this is why everyone loves this game. So yeah, it's something I think is fine the first few hours and really gets into all-time territory when you really dig into it.
Oh, that's interesting because you may have just sold me on continuing to play it.
Steve fell into that trap.
Yeah, well, I picked up Nier on PS4 right when it came out. I played a bit of it and I was like, don't really understand the hype, I'm also the type of person who just refuses to look things up because I don't want to be spoiled. So it came to Switch. I picked it up again. I have a physical copy in the other room, and I played it for a few more hours. And I was like, still don't really get it, and it's one of those games that it has such love behind it that I'm almost afraid to say publicly that I'm not really clicking with it, right? Because we all know how the internet can be, and so I just kind of put it back on the shelf and left it. And hearing John say, "Oh, you've got to play it." If you had
said that, I feel like if you had said that, people would have said, "How far have you played?" Yeah. I think that's would have been the response you would have gotten.
In fairness, though, like it shouldn't be that like
true.
This is part of the whole story of the game. It makes sense in context, but it shouldn't be that a game is only fine for the first playthrough until it eventually gets better. But yeah, I think building that slow crawl does kind of improve things, though. After a while, it's hard to get around that at first, though. It's like, do I have to be playing a lesser part of it to really get to the good stuff? But you kind of do. And then once you're done with it all, you appreciate what you build up towards, and you get really fantastic storytelling, brilliant soundtrack, pretty great combat. But it's really the world that it builds and where it keeps moving things forward that makes it deliver. But yeah, and there's more to this game than just 2B.
Yeah, very very much so. And I I I I didn't get to Near Automata right away. I
Mm.
actually played Near original on PS3 back in the day and got all the endings and saw what it had done. And like, it was, you want to talk about a game that's not great when you first play through it.
Oh
That is
yeah,
the original Near, where the gameplay is far more static and not nearly as interesting, but you're carried through the story about what's going on, like, you're getting intrigued by it. And the music, of course, is just brilliant all the whole way through. And then you get to the first ending, you're like, wait, what's going on? And then you start the second one, it's like, oh, this is what's going on. And then you get more and more. And they do the same trick with Automata. It's own more a little different from how the original handles it. But I knew what to go into, and it's just like, oh, I get to have better combat as I go through this. So
yeah,
I was just enjoying my entire ride through Automata until getting to the end and just being utterly shocked about how certain moments in this game, like it where you think it might go is not how it goes.
no, 100%. Yeah, there's an anime adaptation as well, which I watched, and I thought this game is just better in game medium. But you can tell the
It's meant to
story
be a
separate from the
game.
game, but it doesn't hit as hard.
Yeah, very much so. I didn't bother with the anime, but
Mm.
Steve, this is one I just as I should probably go back and play Ghost of Tsushima, you should probably go back and play Nier Automata.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go back and find time for this now. Hearing that I think is what I needed to hear to get me over the hump with it, because it's not like I disliked what I was playing. It just didn't feel like this remarkable
Yeah,
best of all
You
time
hear of the
and you're
hype,
right.
and it's just like,
You're right, that first
what is
playthrough
that?
isn't remarkable, but it's best of all time. You're 100% right.
Hmm. But it becomes something
Yeah,
special, and
it
that's sort
does.
of the fun of the Nier franchise. That's sort of where they get you at. But yeah, it just enjoy the combat for what it was until they get to that point, I guess is the best way to put it. Um, all right. Well, we have finally reached our top 5 PlayStation 4 games, and there is quite a jump in numbers from 6 to 5. So Nier Automata had 1,142 votes. The next game is beat it out by 280 votes, roughly.
Oh
Wow,
wow.
okay. Hmm.
There's still some games in here that I feel like there's no way they're not on the list.
Mhm.
But there's also games that I think it might be time for me to write off. Like, I don't know that The Witcher 3 is gonna make it, which is
Yeah.
wild.
Feels weird.
Yeah. I feel like now we start thinking about games that are almost certainly here, right? Like
Yeah.
like Persona 5's on this list somewhere. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering where.
Probably at number 1, knowing you lot.
um, I'm gonna
Damn you,
go with.
Persona and Sonic.
Yeah, well, the big thing for me is my gut says God of War 2018, but
Mm,
also a 200, like that's a huge jump.
yeah.
I just don't know that it would have that big of a difference, but also don't think it, like, knowing our audience, I don't think it's gonna crack like top 3. So I'm gonna go God of War. I feel like
Nice.
that's just the safe bet.
So here's the thing, we have 5 left. It's gonna be Bloodborne, God of War, Persona, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, I'll say you're going God of War.
Yes.
I'll go Persona, just because I think it's been spread out
Interesting.
across platforms now that they might not all gather on PS4.
All right. At number 5, congratulations, Steve. You finally got one. God of
I'm
War.
on the board,
We did it.
baby.
We did it.
God of War safe bet wins. I had a feeling the only thing that was throwing me off was the number of points, but God of War is fantastic. I mean, it is such an incredible game, and it's another one that the benefit of having started GVG and reviewing PS5 games really brought me back to this one, because in 2018 I was quite busy, just doing freelance work, all kinds of stuff. God of War slipped off my radar. My best friend Nick, I was living with him at the time, and he was playing it, and I was watching him and being like, "That's neat. I'll do that eventually," and I just never did. Fast forward and realizing Ragnarok was coming out, and I was going to review Ragnarok. I played through all of 2018, and I was just blown away by what an amazing game that was. It got me so much more excited for Ragnarok. Um, those are two of just Sony's greatest games of all time, in my opinion. They are fantastic first party efforts, real showcase for what the PS4 was capable of, and really the relationship between Kratos and Atreus and Mimir are all just excellent. Like the dialogue is so well done, so well written and performed that it really humanized Kratos as a character, which is crazy to say because you look back 20 years and he's like got a goatee and girls have their tops off and he's just swinging chains around like a lunatic. Like they did
got
so
those
much to
daddy
make this character.
issues.
Yeah, exactly. Like Kratos has depth to him now, and you really have to credit Santa Monica Studio for what they did with him in 2018 as the beginning of all that.
Yeah. A lot of the time, I mean, I've probably said this before in the past. I probably said it earlier, actually. That's a lot of Sony's first-party efforts kind of mirrored The Last of Us in many ways, and God of War is kind of the most Last of Us-y of them all, which is quite strange to go from, a high-action hack and slash to a more story-dictated, slower-paced game. But it was necessary, though. Like, God of War, I love the original trilogy. God of War 3, I think, was just the peak of everything that could have done. And I did not care to try Ascension. I think I rented it, maybe. I don't remember. Ascension just went off my radar. I was done with God of War. I was satisfied. I didn't need any more. So it was necessary to reboot it. I love those original games, but I don't really want more of them. I'm done with them. So I was quite happy to see a refresh. And yeah, it was fun to get a more down to earth. God, it humanizes everything, like Steve was saying, and you do get some great takes on mythology. Really, really, really interesting. Great combat as well. They've taken influence from Dark Souls in a few areas, but managed to find his own footing with like the throwable axe and all that. This really is just one of the defining PS4 games.
This is another one I need to go back to and finish because I did start it and I forget what happened. Like some other, like probably another review came up and I had to just be pulled away and had put my time on that. And I just never got back to it. But I did play enough that I got to that massive lake where you could just roam around.
Yeah.
And I was like definitely exploring all around there. So what I had played up to that point, like that opening sequence where I think it's Boulder shows up at Kratos' house.
Yeah.
Holy crap. That just shows that they still could pull off the spectacle of God of War just on a more in your face basis than what they ever did with like they went scale for like God of War 3.
Yeah.
God of War PS4 brings it back in but still makes it feel epic and visceral.
Totally.
In a fantastic way, and it's the Valkyrie fights. I think I only did 1 or 2 at that point because there's not that many available, but they are challenging. There is a real challenge to this game if you know where to look for it. You don't have to do it. They made it all side stuff, but I do enjoy that there is that aspect to it. It's one of those things. It'd be interesting to go back to God of War because I don't think Kai was around when this first came out. So now having my own son and be like, this is gonna hit different.
This is definitely an evening game for you now, though. You can't play it when the kids are around.
Oh no!
Put them to bed. For a long time, I associated this game with being sick because when I first played it, I had like some stomach bug or something, and I was just sick all night. It's like I don't like this game. This game makes you sick. Don't play it. But I came back to like a year later. I was like, okay, this game is more than illness. This game is actually something quite special.
Yeah, one thing that it doesn't get enough credit for too is just how great the combat feels. Combat is obviously a huge component of God of War 2018, and every impact has this satisfying weight to it. Whether you're using the axe or the chains, it just feels like you're making physical contact with these guys in a way that hurts. Like, when Kratos punches someone, just the sound design and that subtle use of hit stop, I almost wish that Zelda would borrow some things from these games in terms of just how weighted and grounded the combat can feel at times.
I like the puzzles as well, by being able to use your axe for more than just combat. And I think Ragnarok took those puzzles it kind of solved them for you with dialogue, whereas this one like leaves you to do it yourself in a lot of circumstances. And it feels better doing it that way.
one of my bigger complaints about Ragnarok is that Mimir will often just tell you what to do. Like
Yeah.
he'll explain a puzzle to you. I'm like, I've barely just arrived. Like,
Yeah.
give me a few minutes before you do that.
They basically, we really want you not to get bogged down. We want you to see the story. Just, here's how you solve it. We want you to keep playing, but essentially we need a puzzle here. So
Yeah.
obviously I've not played Ragnarok yet because it probably heavily ties into what happens in this
Yeah,
one.
you should play
So,
them both first. Yeah.
probably a good idea, but God of War at number 5. So let's move on to number 4, beating out God of War by only 53 points, I want to say.
Cool. So what's left? So we got 4 games. We got Spider-Man, Persona, Bloodborne. What's the fourth one I'm missing? Last of
Ooh.
Us.
I wonder if The Last of Us is going to make the hit. Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Persona, Bloodborne. It has to be.
There's a few things it could be. I mean, it could be Red Dead, which it probably isn't. It could be Last of Us. Is there some obvious game we're overlooking?
Right?
Oh, Kingdom Hearts. You're right, Natalie.
Kingdom Hearts 3 could be on that list.
Yeah, I think I'd put Kingdom Hearts at 4.
I'm gonna pick Spider-Man. I feel like it's so close that it has to be another first-party IP.
Yeah.
All right. At number 4, I am disappointed in each and every one of you. I'm disappointed in Steve. I'm disappointed in chat. And I'm disappointed. Well, not so much disappointed in John because he did not click with this one. At number 4, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh
wow!
I don't know why that didn't click with us as like one of the big remaining games, because that is one of the biggest.
The biggest, yeah.
Holy hell! I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys associate it more with 5 at the PS5 at this point.
I don't know. I think this is still one of the big PS4 games. For some reason, it just didn't come to
massive.
mind.
Massive.
This was my number 1. This is my favorite game on the PlayStation 4. I love 7 Remake.
7 Remake is wonderful. And I know that John, like you said, he didn't click with it. Back before this was GVG, there was a whole video about that on here. It's still like back there. If you search and you just sort by oldest, you'll find it. And I actually agree with many of John's criticisms about 7 Remake, but they don't make a dent in the game for me, if that makes sense. Like, the constant following people and squeezing through narrow corridors. Yeah, that's like a hallmark of PS4 era game design that sucks. But there's kind of this sense, and I might actually attribute it somewhat to just being ancient, is that one of the things I love about 7 Remake is just how wonderfully realized Midgar is. Like, it feels like what I imagined Midgar looked like. When I was playing on the PS1 and all those pre-rendered backgrounds, like my imagination filled in the gaps, and Square Enix basically made exactly what I thought this place was like. And that to me is something that very few games ever managed to pull off. And the way they recharacterized Cloud and actually gave him some more dialogue, Tifa, Barrett, like everyone is so wonderfully done in a way that kind of gives it this permanent leg up over Rebirth and eventually, the final game in the trilogy, because it was our first reintroduction to these characters. And personally, I know some people are really upset that the story goes in a different direction. I quite like that because it makes it unpredictable. Like, to me, I can't wait for the third one to find out what the hell is going on.
I've still not beaten Rebirth, but last I played, I'm at the gold saucer, so I need to keep
it goes
going.
very off the rails.
I'm sure it does, and that's the key thing. It's hard to judge this whole remake project until it's all out, because they did go in different directions. Like, how do they pull it off? How do they continue? But even just in its own, until it does do that whole thing where it kind of takes its own path. This is the game that Square Enix finally realized who these characters were, because if you'd played the compilation games, God, they mischaracterized just about every single character. They just didn't get it themselves. They went their dark, broody method. It's like, no, that's not Cloud at all. And to have the relief that like, no, this is how Aerithak. She's just not some goody two shoes, wilting flower, or Klaus just not some moody boy. He's a goofball who's trying to be a moody boy. For them to get that really sells a lot for that game, and to see a lot of those classic elements recontextualized in 3D. You had the questions like, everybody remembers certain enemies, like you play as a kid and you fight the Hell House. It's like, what the hell is this? Like, I'm fighting a house. That makes no sense. And then they make it a boss and remake. That's amazing. That there is so many great ideas on how to expand a 5-hour section into a 30-hour game, and it does feel bloated in parts where it slows things down. But I loved it enough that I platinumed this game, and I don't platinum games. I don't care about enough. But I had to go through in the hard mode, and I love playing. I think the hard mode is the best way to play. You have to play through the original one in order to get, be ready for everything. You can't just jump right into it. But hard mode really pushes the combat to its limit and shows you, like, if you prepare and get everything down and ready and remember how things go, you can just have so much fun with that combat, figuring out how to best break through enemies, and it could just be some of the most satisfying gameplay I've had on the PS4. I adore 7 Remake.
I don't want to come to like every game on this list and be like, oh, I didn't actually like this one very much. Because there are good parts of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I understand that, like, some of the puzzles, like the travel to what is it, Wall Market. I get it.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It wasn't like I reached the credits and went, oh, bad game. Like, there are parts I really like. The combat system is great as a whole, and there's lots of just general moments that feel, just more fleshed out in a good way. Like, I like just exploring more of Midgar, seeing how big some of these towns actually were, getting more of the characters. I think it's the more bloated parts that do stick in my mind, though, because the original is such a strong game, like one of my favorites of all time, and it's because it's so zappy. Like, you're so quickly going from area to area to area. Whereas in the original, when the plate falls, it is this kind of like, whoa kind of moment. Whereas in the remake, it's like, let's just evacuate everybody one by one. There's no pressure, like the bar's burning down. Marlene's in there, and you're so slow. It's like, get out of there, Tifa. And it's so slow. And that's the parts I don't like. But that's not all of the game. There are still some great moments in there. So it's not like I think it's a terrible game. I think it's a good game. It just those slower moments did bring it down for me from being like from ranking like a personal list that I would do.
Fair. Yeah, you could probably cut down some of the longer elements. Again, the trip to Wall Market, the sewers, Hojo's lab, and you could probably have a much stronger 25-hour game.
Yeah.
But I still just found myself enjoying it. But I feel like number 4 is pretty solid for this list. This makes sense to me, especially for how big it was and how much of a moment it was to have this actually be here. Or have finally be a thing.
It was a long road. It was a long road to existing.
Very much so. But all right, we've reached our top 3. You guys have been debating on what the games are. We'll have to see if you're right and if you can get if you are correct, what order they're in. But I will say that number 3 only beat out 7 Remake by 17 points.
This feels like Persona. This feels like the place for Persona.
Ooh. This would be an easier decision for me to make if I knew the delta between 3 and 2 as well. Because part of me is like, again, it's a small difference. Could be Spider-Man. Yeah. and the audience just seems to love Persona so much that I wouldn't put it above being number 1.
Yeah.
This is tough, but in the interest of saying different things, because it could equally be Persona, I'm just gonna stick with Spider-Man and see what happens here. Because I don't think Spider-Man is like the best PS4 game of all time, but I could also see how others could say that.
It's one of the most distinct at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it stands
I want to
out.
tell the audience off though. We don't know the results yet, but there's no Astrobot. Everyone loves Astrobot PS5. Then Rescue Mission did the same thing like 6 years before it. And no one ever no one ever gives it its flowers. So
nobody
here's its
bought
flowers
VR.
right now. Yeah, that's true.
I'd blame it on that. If it wasn't for VR, I would have picked up Astrobot, but yeah. All right, we have Persona 5 from John, and we have Spider-Man from Steve. At number 3, Bloodborne.
Are you kidding?
Oh,
Are you telling a ha joke?
No, I'm not telling a haha joke. At number 3, it is Bloodborne.
That's
I
not
had
good enough.
Bloodborne at number 2. That was
Is it-
that was I thought it was going to be number 2 for sure.
This isn't okay, Derek. I think
Hey, I get it.
yeah,
More people need to play Bloodborne.
they do. They do. Like, I think Bloodborne is the best PS4 game. It is one of the best games ever made. You know, every part of it is just miraculously designed. The best From Software game. Like Elden Ring does cool different things, but Bloodborne's tightness is just so unrivaled. I remember like trying this first. This is when I really started to get into From Software games, and I found it really tricky to get through that opening area. But then you memorize it, you get better, and it just keeps going and getting more interesting. And then you start getting into the lore a bit, and there's really really cool things Bloodborne does, and it's become kind of a cozy game for me because I can just play through it in an evening because I've memorized it. So I can just switch my brain off and just chill out to these gothic horrors, and it feels nice. It feels like you're at home.
I hope I got questions about your home, John. I've had an interesting kind of career, let's call it, with Souls-like games. I played a bit of Bloodborne, a bit of Bloodborne when it came out, and didn't initially really get that into it. Elden Ring kind of changed my mind about the genre wholesale. I played through all of it with a friend of mine, and then that got me wanting to go back. I've played through most of the Demon Souls remake on PS5, and I've spent a little bit more time in Bloodborne. I think I'm about halfway or 3/4 of the way through the game, and I really enjoy it. Combat's fantastic. It once you kind of get into that mindset for these types of games, everything starts to make a bit more sense. But I think it's really hard to get into that mindset in the first place. Like it's, but once you're there, it makes a lot of, everything just kind of adds up because they're all very similar in certain ways to each other.
Yeah.
Bloodborne is probably the most fluid feeling of the bunch for me. And I think that contributes a lot to why people love it as much as they do. I desperately need to finish it. Someday I'll find the time. I keep waiting for like the fabled 60 FPS patch for this game to come out.
One day.
You'd think it'd be a thing. You'd think.
Yeah. But this is the most distinct From Software game though, because it's still got all that Dark Souls DNA. But there's no shield. You can't guard. You can only dodge or hit. So like there's that mechanic of like when someone hits you, your health doesn't entirely go away. So if you keep whacking them, you can kind of build it back. So it's a very offensive game, which I think is really cool. And Yharnam is just more interesting. I love that gothic setting. I think it's From Software games. They have a look to them, but this visual design I think just stands out in a timeless way because it looks stunning. I love all the fog and just the Victorian kind of looking buildings. It's just gorgeous.
And the evolution as you play through it, where you're going through the city at first, and then you get more into the countryside, and of course you have to have a swamp, and then you go further out, and you can go to this like snow-covered castle or just a regular castle, and how they also just change up the enemies as you go along, where it starts out much more typical men. Here's some werewolves, that sort of thing, and then you get later on, and it's cosmic. I'll just say
it's just like sometimes you're fighting a man and sometimes you're fighting what looks like a giant vagina. You never know what's going to happen.
And a lot of people have said that like there's a sort of a Castlevania feel to this game. And I see it like it. God, Castlevania in this style would be super entertaining to see if they could pull it off. But man, I heard about it for years. It always looked interesting, and I finally played it, and I really was just hooked on it. And it's, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I didn't find it to be that tough. Is it? I have not played a lot of the Souls games.
I don't think you're wrong.
I think this tends to be one of the easier Souls likes, right?
Yeah, it's difficult, but you've always got the tools to get through it, though. Like you
Mhm.
can summon someone, whether it's someone online or an NPC. You can take beast blood pellets, which just sort of make you deal more damage. It's only difficult if you don't really take advantage of what's given to you.
Yeah. So it just a brilliantly designed game. I get why everybody wants a sequel or at least a 60 FPS patch so they can
Yeah,
just play through it again. We'll have to see how the Duskbloods do if it fills in that gap. It's not going to with this
probably
multiplayer
not.
focus, but we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Bloodborne at number 3. So now we've reached our top 2, and you were wondering about gaps, Steve.
I
There
am.
is a 591 point difference between 3 and 2.
I feel like that's not
What?
okay. Like it should have been close. It should have been a little bit close.
Oh goodness. I mean, this makes me feel like Spider-Man just didn't make the top 10 at all,
That can't be
which
right. That can't be right,
feels
can it?
weird. Yeah. It can't be, right? But this has to be either Persona or Spider-Man in my opinion. Like those are the only two that really make sense at this point.
Yeah.
But I just
It'd be
don't.
really weird to not have any Resident Evil though, because like 2 and 7 were really huge things, but
Yeah.
maybe they missed the list entirely.
Yeah, there's other games too that I thought would have made the list. Monster Hunter I thought would have made it. I don't think it's on here. Um Jeez, for me, the question for me is, does Spider-Man somehow have the power to topple Persona? And I don't think he does.
Spider-Man can't beat a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah. I feel like with our audience in particular, Persona is one of these two. So I feel
Yeah.
like I've got a 50-50 shot here. And as much as I want Spider-Man to be number 1, I I struggle with it. You know what though? I'm gonna have faith in Peter. I'm gonna roll the dice again. I'm gonna say Spider-Man. Come on, I have to be right eventually.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say Persona, in that way, one of us is probably gonna be right. Unless it's like Wipeout Omega Collection, which would be cool, but it's not gonna be it.
Seems unlikely. All right. At number 2, Marvel's Spider-Man.
Yes.
For some reason, I thought you were gonna say like Marvel Rivals or something. Like, is that even on
Yeah,
there?
I was waiting.
The official title is
Yeah, you're
Marvel's
right. You're
Spider-Man,
right.
so I
Yeah.
always go by official title.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
And
right. I mean,
yeah.
what can we say about Spider-Man? You know that it's a
So
fantastic
good
game.
we talked about it before we even got to the list.
We have. I think what makes it quite special is it doesn't actually do a whole. It doesn't invent a whole lot, right? Because like Treyarch Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 on like PS2 already did open world swinging. The combat is very Batman Arkham Asylum. Like it's not introducing that much, but it does it on a level and quality that we haven't really seen before. And it manages to tell something that doesn't feel like it was rushed together or done on a low budget, which most Spider-Man games in the past were. And it doesn't really falter anywhere. Maybe like the Mary Jane and Miles bits, but they're so short that they don't really leave that much of a lasting impact.
I didn't mind those bits. I'd say when I played Spider-Man, I probably played in the less optimized way because the way I played a lot of these games is, hey, here's a bunch of side stuff. I'm going to do the side stuff before I go to the main quest, and that bogged down things quite a
Sure.
bit, especially when it came to what's her name, Speedball or what's
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Internet Girl,
Screwball, right?
yeah.
Screwball. Yeah, that definitely slowed things down quite a bit. But once the story really got, it felt like it took a while for the story to really pick up and get going. But once it did, it was like just nonstop. Like I was just completely invested in what it was doing and how it was evolving, and just brilliant, brilliant ending.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
finale.
it's just one of those games like I think in continuing series like these, especially where you're talking about licensed games, the first ones almost always tend to be the best ones because they can just kind of tell the story they want to tell, and I feel like expectations get higher as these series go on longer. We had Miles Morales in between Spider-Man 1 and 2, which was excellent in its own right. But like we said earlier, 2 kind of has the Spider-Man 3 problem in which there's too many things going on at once in that game,
Yeah.
whereas 1 is much more focused on Peter's relationship with Otto Octavius and him becoming Doc Ock. And then, it's a really good retelling of that kind of story that most people at this point are familiar with, right? Like we all know what happens between those two characters and how it plays out. Insomniac did a great job of bringing that to the medium of video games. And again, that's even been done within the medium of games before. They just, nothing, like John said, nothing here is brand new. Like they didn't add anything new to the superhero genre or even to Spider-Man games in general, but they did it in such a refined way that it's just really hard to imagine any other developer touching the Spider-Man IP.
And really, it's a Sinister Six story, which should feel crowded, but I think they had the room of a video game duration to really pace it out really well. Because at the heart of it, it's Doc Ock and Spider-Man building a relationship with Mr. Negative as the villain most of the time. But then they give you like these small glimpses of like Scorpion and like Electro, and they manage to tie it all together really efficiently and really well. And they make Insomniac Spider-Man really distinct. Like you feel that life and Spider-Man balance, which even the Marvel movies don't really do. Like they never have the time to focus on Peter. Whereas here it really gives you that time to, not just in the gameplay perspective, but also in the story to just slow down and have those moments. And you get more playful Spider-Man too. Like one part that comes to mind is like the spider cop part. Like that's just fun. And I love how like when you're swinging, there's two different voice deliveries to when you're standing still. Like if you're swinging, he's very much like oh, but if you're just standing still, it's a general conversation. And it's just all these small little flourishes. But
they emphasize the whole friendly neighborhood aspect where he's like interacting with people, and it's just nice. It puts you into that world, puts you into the shoes of this Spider-Man, and just all like. Again, doesn't do anything that original, but it puts it together in a way that the quality is there to just overtake anything. Because I remember when it was first shown, it was a construction part where it was very button press heavy. And a lot of people are like, "Oh God, is this going to be the whole game?" But then you open it up and you see this web swinging and what all it does, and it's like it uses that to pretty decent effect to really emphasize, the impacts of things or the sort of special goings on. So yeah, it's just really good. It's just really, really good. All right. That is our number 2 PlayStation 4 game of all time. Let's go ahead and find out what number 1 is, beating out Spider-Man by 380 points.
Good God. So you're saying Bloodborne lost like 800 points?
From Bloodborne is approximately 900 points, 913 points.
Horrible.
The top spot.
Horrible.
Could this be?
Yes. What could this be? I think we're saying both Persona 5 and Astrobot Rescue Mission, and we're hoping that it's the second one.
Yeah, it is very obviously Persona 5.
At number 1, Persona 5/Royal.
And it's not like it's not like it doesn't deserve it, because it is a great game. It is a great
Royal.
Game.
It really does enhance like 5.
Yeah.
Like it is the better version. Royal is the best version of Persona 5 easily.
I love Persona 5. I think I don't know if I'm jaded about it now though, because I've played it a lot and I've praised it a lot and we've talked about it a lot in these top 10s. I think it is great, and if I went back and played it a bit more, I'd be like, "Oh, this really is fantastic." Because I love the cast, I love the city, I love roaming around, and I think the balance between Phantom Thief and School was a really nice twist on the usual, like more closed off dungeon crawling. You're getting more invested in the lives of people by sending the calling card and getting to know them. All that, that's all brilliant stuff. But I think I'm jaded from Bloodborne being at number 3. I just want to like that terrible game.
Royal really does add a lot. Unfortunately, I stopped at the casino because I was around the time that Kai was about to be born. I was trying to get through it around there, and I just ran out of time. So
you finished Vanilla though, didn't you?
I finished Vanilla, so I know everything of Vanilla. I know all that, but I know Royal adds a lot, and we're so close to like actually seeing the brand, the really new stuff of that game. I saw, Kasumi showing up throughout, which I think she's added rather well. And the new guidance counselor character is also added and integrated rather well. That if you just started with Royal and you couldn't figure out where were they, how are they not in the original game, type thing. The designs of the castles I think are also better with the there's those special things you can find. There's 3 of each of them. I forget what they're called. But there's 3 of those special items to find in each one that makes it more rewarding to go explore.
Totally. There's points both in vanilla that Royal didn't quite solve. I think that there's some later dungeons which just aren't as good as some of the early ones.
They ruined a boss. They made a boss. The 5th boss, the sci-fi boss.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was going to say the sci-fi dungeon in general, not one of the stronger ones.
I will say the sci-fi boss almost ruins the game, because our son Chase, our oldest, loved Persona 5 Royal, was playing through at a consistent spot, and then got to that boss, couldn't beat it, couldn't get past it. And I with his setup, it's hard to jump in there and be like, oh yeah, I can do this. And no, I couldn't do it. He lowered the difficulty, everything, nothing. He just couldn't get past that. And I remember spending a while myself getting through that. When I played, it's like, why is this so much harder?
Yeah.
But then you're golden after that.
You really do have to pick this game apart and find like one bad area and be like, that's what we're going to focus on, because it is generally great. It's
fantastic all the way through. Otherwise, but when I say this boss is a blight on this game, I mean it.
That's interesting. I'm the only person seemingly on Earth that has not finished Persona 5. I've played a bit of it, and I think I'm in the sci-fi dungeon you're talking about in my save, but it has been a long time since I've looked at it. It's one of those games that I keep telling myself I'm eventually going to finish, but and I've said this before and I'll say it again, Persona 5 is a game that very much does not respect the player's time. Everything feels like it takes so long in this game. Like, you have to invest a lot of hours into it, and I feel like that's probably why I've struggled so much to finish it. Because it's just, if you tell me that I'm going to play Breath of the Wild, for instance, for 200 hours, in 5-minute chunks over the course of 8 years, that okay. But if you tell me that a game takes that long, like 100 hours or something to really beat, I'm just going to walk away from it telling myself I don't have the time, when in reality I do. And it's just one of those things that I struggle to do the math on. So at some point I'm going to beat this, and maybe at that point I'll be like, yes, all these number ones make sense. But I just haven't experienced enough of that game to really understand, I guess. It's almost like Nier, right? Where I need that one piece of the puzzle that clicks into place that tells me like, oh, this is why so many people love this game, and I just haven't found that yet.
Well, I think one big reason Persona thrives right now is there just aren't that many RPGs that are okay with being traditional. Metaphor did it really well recently, which is another Atlas game. But you look at all the other big RPGs of this era, and you're looking at like Dragon Quest XI, which should have been on the list, by the way. And then you look at Persona 5, and then you're like, okay, what else? Like, there's some things you can shout out, but the vast majority of RPGs.
I think that's why Clair Obscur made another splash. It wasn't just Persona or Dragon Quest. It's something new following that turn-based aspect of it.
And turn-based has always been great. Like it's nice to shake it up every now and then, but it's been shaken up so many times to the point where it's rare to just get vanilla turn-based.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of why Persona is so popular. Obviously, there's other reasons for it, but this is just kind of the one that did it most successfully.
And Natalie mentions Octopath. Yeah, you have old school leading games that are turn-based, but you don't get new games. You don't get by new games. I mean,
I know what you
games,
mean. Like it's
like,
trying
again,
to be
Clair
retro.
Obscurs.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Octopath. I remember the Super Nintendo days, whereas Persona's like, this is a modern game through and through, and it thrives. And both it and Clair Obscura thrive in that. And I think there's something to learn.
I think so. I think there's a lot you can do with those games, whether it's style with Persona 5 or much more active than you'd ever expect in Clair Obscur. But there is value in that. And I think Persona 5 is still an excellent game, but even just my initial playthrough on the vanilla version, I had to play that over the course of a year.
Oh yeah, took me a
I
long
had to,
time.
like, I got pulled away and you had that RPG pool of like, I should start over. I don't remember what it is. Like, no, I have to just pick up where I left off and continue. And that's how I was able to eventually get through it. I just could not fall into that trap. So
we've only mentioned the style a little bit. So the menus, some of the best in the industry. The music, so distinct, so catchy, and just the general art style is phenomenal.
Love Takeover as a brand new battle theme for Royal.
It's so much DNA in there.
Good stuff. Like, it is an excellent game. I think if this was the only time Persona 5 showed up, we'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. But because we've seen it so often now, maybe Persona in general, maybe that's why it's maybe lessened a little bit. But I think barring outside of everything else, it deserves it. It's an excellent game. You can argue about Bloodborne maybe being number one because it is the most distinct PlayStation 4 game. But I think overall, very solid list.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great list. I'm shocked Spider-Man ended up all the way up at number 2.
I did not expect them to make that high. So, would you guys like to know our top 50 though? Get some recommendations for other games to play on PlayStation 4.
Yeah, I mean, PS4 lasted a long time, and there's a lot of great games that weren't here. So I'd love to hear more.
I'm really curious where Death Stranding landed on this list.
Yeah,
like I knew it wouldn't be in the top 10, but
top 20 though, probably.
Yeah,
we'll see. That being said, I will have you guys guess one last thing. What was our number 11 that missed out the top 10 on the top 10 by 1 point?
Ooh.
Just gut feeling, right?
I'm gonna go DQ 11.
Dragon Quest 11.
I'll say I'm gonna go with Natalie with Kingdom Hearts 3.
Missing out the top 10 by 1 point. The Last of Us Part 2. Number
what? It was on my list. So The Last of Us Part 2 is so divisive that I just kind of assumed that while it was in my personal top 10, that it wasn't going to make it. I remember very distinctly how harrowing it was to be a reviewer of that game. I don't think the comments have ever not gone my way so much as they did when I reviewed The Last of Us, because I gave The Last of Us The Last of Us Part 2 a perfect score. And I will say in hindsight, my opinion on that has changed. I don't think it deserves a perfect score, but if I was going by our current numbering system, I'd probably give it like an 8.5 at least still. I think it has some pacing issues, but other than that, I think it tells a wonderful story. Love the characters. But I think there was a visceral reaction to certain story elements of that game.
Yeah.
I've
still not played it.
I can't say I've ever really understood why people are so angry. I think that it's not even a spoiler. I think there's strength in killing characters a lot of the time. There's strength in getting rid of things that you care about because it gives you something to be angry about. And being angry isn't a bad thing. Being angry at a story of media is a good form of storytelling. And
media literacy has unfortunately dropped off quite a bit. And they this thing makes me feel bad, therefore I don't like it. Or we can get into the whole now you're playing as Ellie and I don't want to play as Ellie aspect of it.
I mean, it could be that, yeah. But I think some people are just mad that something they didn't like happened. I think you gotta roll with it sometimes because it can lead to really good things.
I agree. It's a story about revenge, and to want revenge, you need to be angry, and so I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it plays with the player's emotions in a way that most games never do, and I love it for that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Last of Us Part 2 at number 11. Number 12, Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Man, yeah. Phenomenal game.
RE2 above 7. I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I think I see 7 more as like the PS4s. I mean, they're both PS4 games, but for some reason I view 7 as like, PS4's Resident Evil game. But no, 2's fantastic.
Yeah, I think 2 just has that classic feel to it. Everybody loves Leon.
Yeah, totally.
Players always... I think it's more of what people expect out of Resident Evil. 7 is bringing it back to form, but yeah. Anyway, at number 13, Red Dead Redemption 2. Close, but not quite, Steve.
Yeah, Red Dead 2 is I don't like that game. I just
I
don't
never
like
played it. I
it.
saw the details about how it's a bit more realistic. I'm like, that's not what I want out of Red Dead Redemption, and I skipped it.
Yeah, I have made many people on the internet angry with my takes about Red Dead 2, but I will just straight up say it. I don't think it's good. I think that they sacrificed a lot of fun in pursuit of realism. You know, I
Mhm.
just remember like there are cool things in there, snow deformation, stuff like that that wasn't super well done on PS4 at the time, but the story is just crap. It's not a good story. And if you played Red Dead Redemption 1, I challenge you to be surprised by Red Dead Redemption 2. They introduced to you a cast of characters that I mean, you could just do the math and be like, didn't see that guy, didn't see that guy, didn't see that guy. I know what's going to happen to them. Like,
It falls into the prequel trap that somehow Yakuza avoided.
exactly. It's just a very by the numbers narrative. Your main character is somebody that you can guess the fate of from the opening moments. The main antagonist is also somebody you can guess the fate of from the minute they appear on screen. And so you're really just connecting the dots between these events. And for me, at least, there were no surprises in between. It just felt like a very Rockstar is doing this game because they can show off a lot of new tech that they built and then they kind of wrapped a story around those technical feats that they achieved. Beautiful game, visually very impressive, narratively extremely bland.
Mm. I
Mhm.
wasn't quite as negative on it as Steve, but Red Dead 1 is a league ahead. I think that's a way better game, just
Yeah.
Yeah,
in most ways.
for me, Red Dead 1, you could make the argument that that was the game of its generation, like the best game of that entire generation in a standout field. And I'm glad somebody mentioned it. Manita mentioned they actually built horseball technology into
Yeah.
Red Dead 2. Why? I don't know,
Yep.
but felt
Somebody had
really
to do it.
unnecessary.
Somebody had to do it. I know people do like this game though, so there is, you know, I think there are elements here that you can enjoy,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Maybe it's better to play two before one. Who knows? But let's continue on because we have quite a few games to get through. Number 14, Kingdom Hearts 3 /
There it
Remind.
is. There it is.
So
Yeah.
I wasn't huge on this game, but I expected
I,
it to be in the top 10 because usually Kingdom Hearts is.
I think it's a little too divisive in how it's
Mm.
it's solved. I mean, people were expecting a grand wrap up, and it mostly gets there, but it also does most of the wrap up in the final uh 5 hours.
Sure.
Before that, it's the typical Kingdom Hearts adventure, which is a lot of fun. Um, this is sort of mine for Steve. Where we've all had those reviews where we were very high on a game when we first played it, and you go back, return to it. It's like maybe it's not as good as I ever thought of. But I still hold it in high regards. I I struggle with. I might enjoy this more than two, but I'm not
Mm.
100% sure on that one. I'd have to play them back to back. Anyway, number 15, Gravity Rush 2.
Nice.
Pretty nice
I
showing by that.
Yeah, great showing for Gravity Rush 2. I kind of like the first game a little bit more, I think. 2 does more things, more variety. I think the first game, just introducing you to the mechanics hits harder.
Mhm.
They're both fantastic, but I think I have fonder memories of the first game.
2 is also like 3 games squeezed into one.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah, it's like near you finished. You're at those credits. You are not done. There's most of the storytelling happens after the third credits or whatever it is.
It's weird. All right, number 16, Dragon Quest 11.
Mm. I think the Switch version's probably just taken most of the mind share, or the S version at least.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so. But Switch version's also going to have a lot of competition, so I don't know
yeah,
if it
that's
can make
true.
that list.
But it's also one of
Um,
the best games of the generation. Again, just not afraid to be traditional.
yeah, I love this game. Probably might be my favorite RPG of all time at this point. I'm not sure. Number 17, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Way
Looks
lower than I
strange.
expected. But
Yeah.
great game, definitely deserves a place in the top 20. Surprised it's not in the top 10, but
Mm.
one of the best stories I played in the PS4 generation. Like narratively, as opposed to Red Dead, this is one of the best stories, just hands down. If you've never played the game or you have no interest, at least look up the story of the Bloody Baron. It is messed up.
Oh, it's fantastic. That's it's like the best in the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
This
have
is
it,
like
but
one
I've
of the
yet to
first
play it.
it's one of the first games in the PS4 era where I was like, "Oh, this couldn't have been done on PS3." It's the kind of open world that's just a scale above what happened before, and all the towns were just so like they felt so alive. I think the only flaw really is combat's just kind of fine, but every other element when it comes to like storytelling, world building, they're exceptional.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame because in a game where, a lot of stuff leading up to the combat is really cool. Like you learn about what monster you're hunting and you have to brew specific blade oils and stuff like that. You do all this prep for a moment and then the combat is just kind of like, I'm gonna do some hand signs and then I'm gonna push a button to swing my sword and it's gonna feel like it takes just a little bit too long to come out. So yeah, Witcher's combat is definitely its low point, but everything around it is so good that I'm more than happy to deal with kind of the clunkiness in the combat system to just hear more of this story. Like it goes places that I'm just like, I can't wait for Witcher 4 now. Like I really, really want to know where they go from here. And also, just as a side note, I love how the author reacts to all the news of the success of the games. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah,
he's just like, as long as they keep giving me money, I don't care.
Fair. Number 18, Devil May Cry 5. Love this one. Love this game so much.
This needs a Switch 2 port soon.
Yeah,
that'd be lovely.
Yeah, this is like
combat.
a prime candidate for a 120 FPS Switch 2 game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's 120 FPS on PS5, and that is my favorite way to play it.
Yeah.
I would love to have this, even if it was just 1080p 120 on Switch 2.
Yeah.
Number 19, Shadow of the Colossus, the remake.
I'm so happy about this at least existing in the top 20 because they added. This is why it made my list of the top 10 because they added new content for like those crazy completionists who scoured every inch of the original. They actually added a secret at the very end for them.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And, I didn't bother picking this one up because it just felt like I was one of those that was like the PS2 version's too pure, and this I don't know. It felt weird having a remake.
This ranked on PS2, didn't it, in the top 10?
Yes.
So it's a candidate for the best game ever, and it is one of the best games ever. I think the PS2 art style I do prefer. I like that sort of overexposed Team Eco look, which The Last Guardian has as well. This one, it still looks good, but I don't think it quite looks like a Fumito Ueda game. But it's still a great way to play, though.
Number 20, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim.
Brilliant.
Yeah. A lot of people love this one. I've not had a chance to play it myself. This is one of those that the story is just king. Everybody loves the story of this game.
Yeah, the gameplay's pretty good, but the story's really what leads it. Yeah,
it's essentially a visual novel with some gameplay associated with it. So, I need to play it myself, but everybody has played it, loves it. So, kudos there. 21, Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain.
I've got a lot of opinions on this. I'll narrow it down to a really small amount. Great game, some of the best stealth. Ground Zeroes is better though. I think Ground Zeroes it has a small sandbox and allows it to be quite linear, but it still gives you the freedom to explore around. Phantom Pain, I think, is just too big for its own good. Like you've got great tools in there, but you don't really get the chance to really appreciate them because there's just too much to run around on foot.
Yeah, it's so funny, but I remember seeing clips of people just doing wacky stuff with that game, and it never quite had that feeling of like Breath of the Wild when people came up with like crazy weird tricks that they could do by exploiting the physics in that game. I just felt like everyone was just attaching balloons to people and like flying them off in Metal Gear Solid 5. But what really kind of crashed my opinion of the game was just the ending felt so rushed and strange. Like
it didn't have an ending. It didn't have one. Like you get to the second portion and you're literally doing old chapters again. It's just like here's that old chapter from before, but a bit harder again. It's like, is this story? Is this a side quest? No, that's just progression. And then eventually it ends, but there's no conclusion.
Yeah, and you just get,
that's why I skipped it.
You get storyboards as part of the ending. Like it's just storyboards past a certain point. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, obviously there was a lot going on at Konami. Kojima departed shortly after the release of the game. His name was scrubbed. Like lots of drama there, but it feels like that drama started during development, and they just kind of had to slap the back half of the game together. So
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised it's in the top 20 and also simultaneously not because
21. Top 25.
sorry. Yeah, just outside the top 20 because it got so much hype, and it was one of those games like where and I played the whole thing. I played it all the way through, and I just didn't understand the hype even after I was done. I was like, none of this made sense. Like why the games media at the time lauded this game as much as they did.
Moobry says, feel free to spoil me for this. Was there ever a real satisfying explanation for why she breathed through her skin? And you're talking about quiet, and no, there is not.
It's a dumb reason, but
Yeah.
let's continue on through the top 50. Number 22, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. I remember this being very talked about when it came out, but not as much lingering conversation about it like other FromSoft games.
Yeah, I don't think it's one of the strong. Oh, it's different. You know, it stands out from Dark Souls, but yeah, I'd probably rank this fairly. Not. I don't want to say low 'cause it's good. Like a low Dark Souls game is a good Dark Souls game, but this didn't stand out as like a must recommend out of all the Souls games.
Number 23. Speaking of Souls, Dark Souls 3.
It's in a similar way. Like I think this it's fantastic, but it's kind of been done before. So it's just sort of it's Dark Souls 1 again, I'd say, which isn't a bad thing. But I think From Software thrive when they do like a new IP with the same formula. But if Dark Souls 3 was like ever come back again, like for Switch 2, I'd say like, yeah, you've got to get that because it's a great game, but it's not a particularly special one. I wouldn't say that.
That seems fair. Number 24, Final Fantasy 15 / Royal Edition.
Man, this is a what legacy this one has, huh?
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it comes together. There are fans of it. It does certain things well, but there's also it has its issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one in particular, I remember one thing you might not know if you don't review games is occasionally you'll just get like a game you didn't ask for offered to you. And this was way back when, I did not have an existing relationship with Square Enix, and they just kind of randomly emailed me a copy of the game like before release. And we're like, hey, do you want to, we're offering you a chance to review Final Fantasy 15. Here's a code. Like it was already in there. And I remember thinking at the time, like, they must be worried about this if if they're giving me of all people, someone who didn't even ask for it, a copy, hoping that there's a positive review on the other side of it. And I will say this, that game has loads of jank to it. It is there's some weird choices in Final Fantasy 15, and at the time it didn't feel very much like a Final Fantasy. And obviously the series has kind of been on this slow evolution that has changed it from its roots. But this was one of the first games where it really felt like a major departure. And while there are emotional highs in that game, there are also some pretty low lows. It's just one of those games that I think I remember fondly because of the experience I had with it. But critically, I could not recommend it.
It's funny to reflect on because there is a fondness like being on a road trip. It's like there's a nostalgia just hanging out with all like a group of friends. I think back on that again. I like those bits, and I like the ending. Like there's a really cool thing they can achieve by letting you be with a party of just dudes for so long. But there's also some really dumb stuff. Like I don't want to say, but like during the ending, like one character has a twist moment, which feels like it should be a big deal, and it opens a door or something. And all the other characters are like, "Oh, it's okay. We still love you." It's really dumb. It's really dumb.
Is that the thing that's not explained until like DLC?
Yeah.
The DLC that was cut out that they pop back in there. So
yeah.
Oh well. Number 25, Death Stranding.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
I've struggled with this game for years. I bought Death Stranding 2. I don't know why I did. Because I didn't particularly enjoy Death Stranding 1. Like this is peak Kojima needing an editor. Like you've got a game with all these Hollywood movie stars, but Norman Reedus is fighting weird monsters with his actual piss and crap. Like it is so deeply weird. I don't understand. There's the Princess Beach scene. Like this game, this man needed somebody like in the room telling him, you just shouldn't do that, Hideo. Like, stop.
But
I know Jeff Keighley really likes
I have seen pushback in the other direction where it's like, we're so used to these games going through committee. At least you can definitely see Kojima's voice with Death Stranding.
And there is something to be said there, yeah. And the gameplay, while like it's tedious at moments, I think that can kind of be part of it too. Like it's overcoming that tedium, which doesn't sound like the best way to sell it, but I think it
Not
can be
exactly.
fun in that way though. I don't dislike it, but again, like Sekiro, if I were to rank the Hideo Kojima franchises, it'd be like Metal Gear at the top, Snatcher below that, and then I haven't played Police Notch yet, but I think Death Stranding would be like below those.
Mhm. We have a tie at number 26 between Monster Hunter World and Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
The Capcom duo.
Capcom duo.
Ooh.
Yeah.
If anything was going to make the top 10, for Monster Hunter, I thought it was going to be Monster Hunter World. Maybe it has a chance in multi-platform. Maybe it has a chance in PC games. We'll see. But they haven't quite made the top 10s yet for us. But I've not played this one, but I know this is what made this game. You got to give respect to Monster Hunter World because this game saved Capcom.
It's the best-selling Capcom game ever.
Yeah.
It's literally the number one.
It saved them. It allowed them to have the backing to do Resident Evil 7, which was also then a success, which then allowed it to have some money to like, okay, let's put some quality into our games again. And then they've just been on that hot streak ever since.
Yeah.
Like, you got to give the game props, if only for that.
And RE7 as well, you know, Resident Evil 6 really just it left the franchise being like, what is this anymore? And then 7 just brought things back to that slow, grounded, single location. It wasn't quite like classic Resident Evil again. It was a new style, and it was brilliant. I think they can only really fault it for like some enemies lacking variety, but you know the Baker House is just so great.
Yeah, I loved my playthrough of Resident Evil 7. At number 28, The Last of Us Remastered.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah,
so
but it was a very late
PS3
game, though, wasn't it? So I think it probably got a lot of new players on PS5, especially if you had a 360 and didn't double dip on like 360 PS3.
Yeah, this was your chance to get the games you missed out on PS3.
Yeah.
Number 29, Elden Ring.
I'm shocked this isn't higher.
Well, it's a PS4.
It's a hard one to judge, isn't it? It's cross-gen. Yeah.
So, we'll see. We'll see how it does on the next generation consoles.
Probably very high.
Yeah. Number 30, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Not tried this one, but I've heard good things.
Yeah,
I've tried these and I just never got far with them. Like I guess they're just not for me really, which is weird because I love Star Wars.
I've heard them comparatively a bit like they're a bit Metroidvania, they're a bit Souls-like.
It's Soulsy, yeah.
So I've not tried it enough to say either way. 31, Crash Bandicoot: The Insane Trilogy.
Man, this was a big deal.
It
felt like big publishers doing mascot platformers was dead. And then you know, this did really, really, really well. I think it did like 15 million or something. And the Spyro remakes did great too. Crash 4, they act like it was a failure. It sold like 7 million as well. I don't know why they act like it's a failure.
And I don't know why they canceled that other Crash Bandicoot game. It makes no sense.
No.
But Activision. 32, Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see this.
Introduction of Ichiban.
This game's story to, you know, its path to existing is probably my favorite thing about it. That it was just an April Fool's joke, and then Sega was like, no, actually, that really was the next Yakuza, and we weren't joking.
It's another game that's not afraid to be turn-based.
Yeah, exactly. Where its weirdness on its shoulders.
Yeah.
33, Ratchet and Clank.
I didn't really like this one.
It's fine. It does well. I mean, it's the best-selling Ratchet and Clank game. I don't know if it's I don't think Rift Apart has surpassed it just because it was early PS5, but
maybe. But
this
it
is
was
the
also
best-selling one.
it was the only Ratchet and Clank.
On
PS2 and
PS4,
PS3 had a bunch, and PS4 just gets a movie tie-in remake that loses a lot of. Well, I think it loses a lot of the soul of the original. It
does,
it's not that
it has to tie into the movie.
Yeah, it's not that it's bad. It's just kind of vanilla.
Yeah. That's probably the best way to put it. At 34, Doom 2016.
Oh, phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, great game.
Revive that series. 35, Infamous Second Son.
Great game.
Great game. Yeah.
Really pretty nice send off to the Infamous franchise. 36, Sonic Mania Plus.
This is going to be higher on Switch. This is going to be way higher on Switch.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
feels like Sonic
unrelated.
Mania is probably going to make a top 10 somewhere.
I'm a little sad we never got a Sonic Mania 2. And Christian
Yeah.
White had just shared a quote unquote screenshot, but apparently they were going to ditch pixel art, so maybe it's for the best.
We'll see. Yeah. 37, Batman Arkham Knight.
It is good. And it's visually like really impressive. This is Unreal Engine 3 rather than 4. And it still manages to look like one of the best looking games of that era. But I think it has that problem where it's just kind of another one. After City and Origins, here's another one.
There's some solid moments, but it doesn't. I don't think it comes fully together.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I remember driving around and just my brother and I laughing at how Batman doesn't kill anyone, but he runs over everyone with the Batmobile. No, I think they're dead, Batman.
38, Astrobot Rescue Mission.
Now this should be monumentally higher. Literally everything anyone likes about Astrobot PS5 is in this game. Some levels look exactly the same. It plays exactly the same. A lot of the gimmicks you've enjoyed are the same. They're all here. But I think just because it was on VR, people didn't really give it a chance.
Yep. And arguably, in its own way, it's cooler because it's in VR because you can look around the stages.
Yeah.
It was a very cool showcase for the PSVR, but like 8 people have a PSVR.
Yeah, I think it's more they couldn't give it a chance because are you really going to buy into the VR ecosystem?
Right. But it is one of the best VR games. Like not just PSVR, just VR in like as a whole. And it's crazy that PSVR 2 came along and they didn't even port it.
Yeah, that seems dumb.
Yeah.
It's wild to me because it achieves what Mario 3D Land set out to do better than Mario 3D Land does because the technology is so much better.
Yeah.
You feel the depth in those stages. Like it's really, really cool. It's almost like you're looking into a bunch of dioramas or something.
Yeah.
39, Tetris Effect / Connected.
Man.
You want to talk about a vibe game?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I've spoken about this game enough. It's so good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Number 40, Dragon Ball Fighters.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. I feel like this was, I'm honestly surprised it's in the top 50 because it feels like one of those games that enjoyed like a longer than usual moment for a fighting game. And then everybody forgot about it.
It's all,
I don't think
this is also our top ranked fighting game on the for the PS4.
That's true.
We had no fighting game. There was no other fighting games before this on the list.
That is a shame. There are much better fighting games on the PS4 than Dragon Ball Fighters.
It is gorgeous though.
It is gorgeous. It had its moment. It had a big moment where it was just like comparing it to MVC Infinite. Yeah, it's one of those like PS4 to like responding to Xbox One moments. 41, The Last Guardian.
Man, I think people are wrong about this game.
I enjoyed it, but it's probably my least favorite of the.
I'd agree. I would agree with
trilogy.
you. I think, of the Fumito Ueda games, this is the weakest. But I think there's such a nice, tangible vibe between man and pet in this game, and people would just like they'd stand on Trico's head and be like, "Why isn't he jumping?" They're not trying to help, and they're not luring him around. They're not trying to gesture ways to go. They're just they think he's a robot car beast.
He acts like an animal, which is sort of you have to sort of wrap your head around.
Yeah, if you have a dog or a pet, I think you can really vibe with this. But yeah, this was treated like a bad game by many people, and I think it's one of the best forms of art that PS4 put out.
Fair enough. At least it made the top 50. But at number 42, Celeste.
Yeah, it's definitely not the 42nd best PS4 game, but in whenever the indies come along, this is really gonna show.
Yeah, I have a feeling. This is an all-timer for sure. At 43, Neo: The World Ends with You.
This deserved way more than it got, and you can't blame anyone apart from Square Enix.
Nope. I still
Yeah.
need to play it myself, but what I played, I really did enjoy. But
Yeah.
yeah. 44, Spyro the Reignited Trilogy.
Also great. Shame
Yeah.
Yeah.
shame Spyro 4 never happened.
That would have been nice. I've been all really excited about that. 45, Near Replicant version 1.224744871139 repeating or whatever, ...
That was a lot of confidence in that title. Well done.
Yes, I think it has like there's some sort of math joke with that version number.
Mm,
It is the best version of the original Nier. It
Yeah.
makes the combat a little bit nicer to play. It's definitely a lot prettier. Square root of 1.5. There you go. It's if you're gonna play it, this is the way to play it. You miss out on you don't have dad Nier, you have brother Nier.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's the only really major difference. But fantastic and great cast as well. I almost would say the cast of Replicant might be stronger than Automata.
I think I'd agree. Yeah, I have a fond memory of my my daughter being like 1 year old when this game came out, and on the load screen there's always like a girl waving in the corner, and she'll just get up to her and wave back every time it was loading, going hi. So that's a fond memory of this game.
Oh, that's cute. At 46, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time.
It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
Really, really great game. I was happy to see this turned out the way it did. Awesome game.
Do not 100% it.
No, just take it as it comes. Yeah, just
Yeah.
enjoy it.
47, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled.
Also really good.
All
This
right.
came out around the same time as Team Sonic Racing, and it's so much better.
Yeah, it really is. At 48, Little Big Planet 3.
Yeah, this one's all right.
Yeah.
I don't know
it
that I put it
struggled.
in the top 50, but it's all right.
Yeah. 49, Doom Eternal.
I think
Oh,
I've
this should
come
have
to
been way higher.
I've come to appreciate 2016 more than Eternal with time.
I've heard that from quite a few people.
Mm.
I've heard of that.
Interesting.
And finally, at number 50, Gravity Rush Remastered.
Yeah, I mean we've already got it in the Vita list. It's all good. I think remastered is the way to play though. You know, it's 60 FPS. It looks beautiful, and it's just a wonderful, experimental, glorious game.
And just in case anybody was curious, tied at 57 was PT. PT got that
I was
many
wondering
votes.
if PT would show up. Yeah.
Yeah, it tied with Control, but yeah.
I can never get rid of my PS4 because I need PT tied to that thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so weird. There's a method by which one can re-download PT even if you've lost it. I've done it before because one of my PS4s, like I've owned like 3, I think, a regular, a pro, and then like the 20th anniversary somewhere. But I lost my hard drive that had it because my PS4 died, and I can't remember where, but I looked up some kind of weird tutorial, let me re-download it. And so I have it sitting on a PS4 hard drive, and very briefly before the PS5 came out, it worked on PS5, and then they revoked it. Like I think I might be the only person on earth who's played PT on a PS5.
Oh man.
Because I was prepping our review for the console, and I had I played it, confirmed it worked, then went back to capture it, and by the time I went to capture it, they had updated the firmware and disabled PT from working.
Of course.
Well, PT kind of it found itself in Resident Evil 7 though. So I remember when that game was revealed, all the reactions like, "Is this PT? Is this PT?" But that game faltering let Capcom pick it up. Pick out the pieces of the formula, and they realized it.
Yeah, do its own thing, and yeah, really great system, really great games. There's even more than this. Honestly, look through the top 100, and for those who don't know, I do put out a complete list of all, like the entire ranking on my Bluesky, like a day or two after it goes live on YouTube. So you can look for that if you're ever curious how all these numbers rang out. But for the most part, yeah, very solid top 10, very good top 50, and good representation of the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, Yeah, there are
Yeah.
certain games I'd love to see a lot higher. I think Tetris Effect deserves a lot more recognition. But Nintendo consider it an indie game. Do we consider it an indie game?
So
No.
the 2010s indie poll has closed. My concept of indie is
Tetris is not indie.
well, Tetris is not indie. So if an indie studio works on a major franchise, so Cadence of Hyrule made by an indie studio, it's indie made but not an indie game because it's still Nintendo.
Sure.
They're working on an established IP. It's not an original, it's not one of their own. Same for like the Blasphemous team working on Ninja Gaiden and so forth. That's not indie. I'm just counting that one.
Yeah, of course.
Same like people would count Sonic Mania as indie. I'm sorry, Sonic
Not at
Mania
all.
is indie made, but it's not an indie game.
Yeah, totally.
That's sort of where I put that at. So whenever we get to that one, because the poll for that one just ended as of this recording, and we're getting into the next poll for that, just to show how far behind these discussions are, unfortunately, because of scheduling. But yeah, that's our top 10. So thank you all once again for watching. So glad that you're still enjoying these videos. We're the end is in sight, like 3 or 4 months away, but the end is in sight.
We're at PS4. It feels like we're in the current era, kind of, right?
Kind of.
Yeah,
There's still a
we're
bunch to
at least
come.
in consoles that you can still buy games for if you go to any regular shop.
Yeah.
You really can take these as recommendations now. So there you go. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to GVG, hitting the like button and ringing that bell. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/GVGaming with plenty of extra perks. So until next time, for that Xbox One list, oh boy, bye.
Put Killer Instinct at number 1.